automated meter system where it takes the data and we get the readings automatically.
Oh, okay, thank you.
And Jim, a number of years ago, before we implemented that system, we had to have a meter reader go around to each house, and it was expensive to implement, but there are a lot of features, that it's given us. It's been a good system. Any other questions on?
Nope.
Dave?
Yeah, I have one. Well, it's just more or less. It's for post date 3/9/2021. It has to do with the dog waste depot and bags. How long do those bags last that we're spending $1,000 on here? That's my curiosity, I guess, more than anything.
Typically, we purchase those once a year.
Okay.
So it's our annual allotment. Once they run out, we go to the disposable bags from grocery stores.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
I saw it there and I just wondered how long they went.
All right. Any others, Dave?
No.
Kim?
Yes, I have a question on I just was wondering what is on 316, the $25,000 one? What is the AMI annual host fee?
That's our automated meter system. So the meters, they send a signal to our towers, and it takes that data, and the data goes via internet to a hosting site. And so all of our meter data is metered, I believe it's every 5 minutes for all of the meters in Fitchburg, and this system hosts that data for us.
Okay, and then obviously if it says annual, we pay that same amount every year?
Yes.
So with the 5 minutes, Kim, we can tell if you're taking a long shower. All right.
You can tell if my toilet's broken at home and the water is
That was the intent, to identify some things like that.
I found a couple times when I've gotten really big water bills and it's like, can you look at that? What was going on?
Yeah. Any other questions? All right. Now I have two. This is more of a general information on 323. It's on page 7. Midwest meter chamber assemblies. So what would are those different size orifices for the same size meters, or what is that, Bill? I'm a little ignorant about that.
Those are for our larger meters. We typically get from census meters the inch or 3/4 inch and the 1 inch meters. The larger 1.5 and larger 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch meters. We would have to purchase those occasionally to replace the stock that we have.
Okay, thank you. And then the second question, Bill, I'm just going to ask you for is more public information on the checks. There's one on 421 to Madison Met. It's our Yahara Watershed Adaptive Management for $105,000. Can you explain how what the taxpayers are getting for that and how the $105,000 is allocated to Fitchburg?
Sure. As part of the Rock River TMDL, we're required to reduce our phosphorus and sediment loading to the Rock River and all the streams that are tributary to that. So within Fitchburg, we have a model that says you can allocate this much loading into the Rock River for pollution. And if you don't meet that, then you have to do some practices within the city to reduce it to that amount to meet that allocation. What Madison Metro has done is they have a program in place that will go into other parts of the community, rural areas, et cetera, and reduce that phosphorus and loading elsewhere in the community or in the watershed so that it's reduced in the overall watershed. And so Fitchburg will pay Madison Metropolitan Sewage that amount per pound of phosphorus and sediment to make up for the areas that we can't make up for in Fitchburg that are very expensive or in developed areas that it would be difficult to retrofit those into. So basically, it's kind of a credit program where they're doing the work for Fitchburg outside of Fitchburg in areas that are able to do that more efficiently, and we're paying a fee every year to recognize that.
Thank you, Bill. Excellent explanation. I would add, when Bill was saying the cost, if we had to implement phosphorus removal at Madison Met or locally, our cost would be substantially more. So encouraging farming practices or whatever to reduce that's really a win for our city here. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Then we're going to move on to the report from Department Head, Mr. Bill Walke.
We got the capital improvement plan coming out. It was released on Friday, and the council should have received that. It's out on our website right now for the public to view. So we'll be having a public hearing on that on June 14th for the council. And so we're getting ready for that project coming up. As far as construction goes on Hatchery Road, we've got the paving coming up next week, I believe, with possibly the switch coming before the 4th of July weekend where we would switch traffic over. So that's a big milestone. We're starting to see some pavement out there, black pavement. Developments in the area. We've just received an extension for Crescent Crossing, the Phase 3. Stoner Prairie's completing their subdivision up there. Crescent Crossing, the second phase is being completed. Fahey Fields is the fifth phase is undergoing very soon. And we're still moving forward with our design plans for Lacey Road. We're trying to get a consultant on board for the intersection of Seminole and Lacey Road for the intersection improvements there. To move forward with that project. Let's see what we got. The Cyene Road water main extension is out for bid right now between, it would be Lacey Road and Hilltop Drive. Or, yeah, not Hilltop, Tower. It's down there.
Tower Hill.
Tower Hill, yes. I think that's the road. But we're looking at opening those bids up next week. The resurfacing project is bid to be opened next week as well. And, gosh, I think that's about all we've got going on.
That's plenty.
Questions for Bill? Yeah. Thank you, Bill. Okay. Next, we'll move into our agenda items. First being Resolution R 107-21, authorizing K&L Engineering Contract Amendment Number 4 for Fish Hatchery Road Design and Construction Inspection. Kim will be recusing herself on this. Do we have a motion to approve?
I so move we approve Resolution R-107-21.
Moved by Wilborn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Wheeler. Discussion. So can I start it off here, Bill? Or,
Sure.
won't mind? So, we have Jesse Schreiner, am I pronouncing it right? From K&L here to answer any questions. The Fish Hatchery Road project was originally, we bid it, and we felt the number was too high. We didn't bid it at a particularly good time. So we rebid it and doing it in stages to have the construction done. And that saved us money. But at the same time, the engineering firm, to oversee this, things, it was no longer 1 year, it was 2 years. And so amount of time and resources they've had to extend, plus doing it in 2 phases has increased the cost. So that's what we'll be discussing tonight. Bill, am I in the ballpark?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So did you have anything prepared to say, Jesse, or just here to answer questions?
No, I'm just here to answer
Okay.
if there's something that comes up.
Okay. So with it moving, I'm going to ask you a couple here. Okay, I've read through the very extensive amount of documentation on the change order. So in moving from 1 to 2 years, the design was done, you guys did the design the first year. So what is the major component of the cost for the second year, if you could explain for people listening?
So from Amendment 3, that incorporated just construction oversight into that work order.
Okay,
And that was on the pretense of a one-year construction project. And so now, after it was rebid for a 2-year construction project. So that is, I would say, the high-level amount that we're requesting in this amendment is to cover that second year.
okay. Can you give me a ballpark, how many hours a week are you guys incurring doing construction oversight?
Anywhere from 40 to 50 hours a week, and maybe 55, depending. I mean, there's ebbs and flows with each week. And we have generally 3 staffers. It's been between 2 and 3, and then since school's out, we have an intern that also joined.
So each of those 3 incurring those hours, is that total?
I would say each of us are working at least 40 hours, and
Okay.
then depending on the workload, up to 50.
All right. Very good, thank you. So I have quite a bit of experience, project management and things, and I know very well, I work in the contractor world. And when schedule changes, that's usually, it's gonna cost you more when schedule changes. Hopefully, the lower bids offset the additional cost we incur, for additional time on site. So I'll open up board members for questions to Jesse.
The only question I have for you, Jesse, would be, is this figure we come in with now, we got a total of $4,305,284. Do we expect to stay at that through the project now?
So a little background on that number. We actually started these conversations back in March of 2020, pre any boots on the ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we met back in September to look at what our budget versus actual was, and we were right there. And we've been right there since. So if history can tell us that we're in a good spot, we've been right where we need to be, and we should be going forward. So right now we're, as Bill mentioned, we're making the switch, so I kind of call that maybe, we're not quite the halfway point because there's a third stage, but yes, this should cover what we need unless some undue, issue were to come about, but yes.
At this time, you don't expect that to happen?
Correct. Per the design, per the staging and the schedule that the contractor has set forward, we shouldn't see any issues.
Thank you, sir.
Bill, is there anything in this change order you did not expect or might have surprised you? You can be frank.
No, it was, tracking right along with the hours that we expected. The projections that were proposed are right in line with what was anticipated. We do have a little bit in there for contingencies for $32,000. But that's just, just in case things go a little above and beyond what we need to finish up the project.
Hey, Bill,
when we put this in and we broke this apart into kind of 2 different years, was this already known and we're just kind of formalizing this now from the city standpoint?
Yeah, as Jesse had mentioned, we knew about this back in 2020 when we were putting the budget together for 2021. And we did put that amount in this capital improvement plan. So we do have that money budgeted. We knew it was coming.
Yeah, I guess that was my big question is, when we get these things, we can say we're going to save a little bit of money on the front end, and then it's going to we're going to get kind of dinged on the back end. As long as we know what that ding was, I just wanted to make sure that this was something that was definitely expected. So thank you.
hey, Bill, got a question for you. How do you determine the amount of the contingency with these projects?
Well,
Sure, just to give some added input into that, out of that 32,000, actually, I believe 15 to 17 is already costs that were used up. So in that contingency, through the project, for instance, last year, talking with Tracy and some of the public works team, They extended some of the sanitary storm sewer. And those costs, there was a redesign that Veer Becker, our sub, had to do. So then that's something that no one anticipated. We got out there after some discussions. They wanted to take advantage of construction going on in that area, and they did that. So that's part of that 32, and since last year we had spent 15 to 17, I think, we just doubled that, anticipating maybe something similar for 21, is how we came up with that number.
Okay, thanks.
Bill, do you have a formula that you use for a project contingency? Are you using 10% or, you know,
It depends on the project size and what issues we might run into, but generally 7 to 8% is what I use.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Michael, anything else? You kind of snuck in there on us also, and we heard your voice. All right, then we'll call the vote. All in favor of Resolution R 107-21, authorizing K&L Engineering Contract Amendment number 4 for Hatchery Road Design and Construction Inspections, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries. Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Jesse. Next, Resolution R 115-21, authorizing construction contract change for the 2020 street and park improvements. Do we have a motion to approve this resolution?
Motion to approve.
Moved by Granetsky, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Kim. Bill, can you give us the rundown? We ran into insufficient gravel and clay.
Correct. West Clayton Road between Sain Road and around the corner to Highway 14 down there is under construction for the water main reconstruction right now. And as we were doing that, we were taking a look at the pavement section that was out there. And there's a layer of clay that's in there, and it's not very stable. So what we had thought, you know, initially when we did the design for the project was not what we're actually finding. So we do have sufficient budget within the entire project to complete a change order. We're doing this preemptively so we don't have to stop the project and ask for money. We may not need it all, but we are just doing this in case we do need it. The clay layer that's out there is soft from what we've seen, and we anticipate that we're going to need a lot more base or stable material to be replaced in there for the project. So we're asking for this preemptively. We may not need it all, but it is required to go before the council because it's more than $5,000 for the change.
So you don't want to be underestimating it either and have to come back again.
Right.
Right. Thanks, Bill.
Questions for Bill?
So Bill, what is the plan for something like this? Is this like scrape off all the clay, put down a heavier base?
Right. After we remove the pavement, we'll do a proof roll on the structure to see if it gives. We'll run a big heavy dump truck on it. And if it does, then we'll scoop out anywhere from 12 to 18 inches, sometimes more up to 2 feet, to stabilize that area and make it hard enough to support the truck. That's essentially what we do. We just fill it in with larger stone, well-graded stones, so that it will support those heavier vehicles.
And specifically, I'm looking at the picture on page 44. I'm assuming that big hole that's kind of in the middle of the picture is not desired.
Right. There isn't a lot of actual base course out there underneath the pavement. There's a few inches under there, and then it sits on clay, and the clay can be anywhere from 6 inches to 2 feet deep. So it depends on where it is that we're just going to have to dig it out until we can get a stable base in there to support the vehicles.
Someone else had a question. Kim, did you have a question?
Yeah, so does your price include like additional EBS, excavation below subgrade, and the replacement base course or whatever you think you're gonna have to put in there? And then in addition, are you anticipating doing any geotechnical work on testing this, or are you just gonna do it all on a site visit or a site evaluation, engineering in the field?
Yeah, typically, we would just do it in the field, based upon our engineering judgment that we experience out there, to get that stable environment for the vehicles.
So are you using existing quantities from or existing unit prices to make your estimate from the current contract and then just adding additional quantity of like base and EBS?
Correct, it's just an increase in the quantity.
Jim or Dave, did you have a question?
No.
Bill, West Clayton's been there quite a while. Did we get damaged by the construction of the water main? Did that contribute to, I'm assuming that contributed to it? No.
It did. We anticipated that it would fall apart, but
Okay.
yeah, the area that was reconstructed for the water main is really good. So we're just making the rest of the road like that now.
All right. Is it possible, it's kind of rob Peter, pay Paul, we had extra resurfacing money that we didn't, can we use that to go towards this, or explain the accounting to me, I guess I'd rather get more streets resurfaced, but is that a possibility?
Yeah, it comes out of that pot of money for street maintenance. So it's used for resurfacing, it's used for the chip seal, crack fill, line painting. It's all pretty much one big account.
Any other questions? Yeah, keep us we're kind of interested what what your design decisions end up being on this. And if anyone needs clay, let Bill know. I think we'll have some available. All right, we'll call the vote. All in favor of resolution R 115-21, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, resolution R 122-21, preliminary assessment resolution for the Greenfield Water Main Extension Improvements. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Wheeler. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Lobdell. Bill, I'll let you run with this one.
Yes, the city of Fitchburg is going to be installing a water main extension from along South Saline Road between Aurora Avenue and about Hilltop Road. And in this process, we are going to be assessing adjacent property owners for the water main that goes past their property and the connection to that. So for individual homes, let's just say last year the price was around $6,500 per home for an individual lot. And those larger lots that could be redeveloped or split into larger lots will pay the actual cost for the frontage along those lots. We're looking for this preliminary assessment in order to go forward with the final assessment, which would include a report, the final plans, final cost estimates, mailing all of the notices to the property owners and holding the public hearing for that.
Questions for Bill?
Are you going to have some very upset people when they get their assessments? Especially
Always.
Where they could possibly sell off part of their land for another, excuse me, lot. But do they know that at this time that that's done?
Yeah, this project's been in the CIP for a few years, and each year that we publish the CIP, we send a notice to the property owners of the assessment, pending assessment, for them to come to the public hearing that we have for the budget, or for the CIP.
Thanks, Bill.
Are these property owners currently on wells, or is there a water main going through there and you're just putting in a new one, bigger, different size? I'm sorry, some redundancy, some fire flow issues, those kinds of things.
Currently, they're all on wells along Saline Road. So we are The redundancy that you're looking for is just a system redundancy where we can provide better fire flows into the Hilltop neighborhood. They're on their own well, separate from the rest of Fitchburg. So by making that interconnection between the two systems, we'll be able to provide better fire flows to the Hilltop neighborhood.
Are the owners gonna be required to connect to the water main?
As long as they have a valid operating well and file their reports, they can continue to use that well, but they will be paying the assessment as well.
That was gonna be my next question. They still have to pay the assessment even if they don't connect.
Excuse me, Bill, but if they sell the property, it has to be hooked up?
Yes. At the sale of their property, they also have to pay their assessment and hook up.
Bill, this, the improved fire protection, it encompasses pretty much the entire, the Greenfield area that used to be on that substandard well, doesn't it? Is there any precedent for a area-wide assessment? I assume the other residents have already paid for the extension of, Fitchburg Water down there. I'm just curious here. These questions always seem to get asked once we get the assessments.
For the area assessment,
Yeah. The water main going by here, what size are you anticipating here? Is this a 8-inch main or?
I don't remember what the size
Okay,
is,
all right.
but yeah, I can talk it over with Tracy and
Okay.
see, but you're talking about reassessing the Hilltop or the Greenfield?
Yeah. Well, look into it. What you're proposing here, Bill, is consistent with our assessment policy that I've seen, Dave and I have seen, and I think, and Michael, throughout the years here. But I am interested, that because this was an area in Fitchburg that they requested, they requested that we bring water down there because their private system had failed. And, I don't know if these property owners should bear that, the full cost of this, but let me know what you find. I'm not sure there's much there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm remembering back, it's been a while now, but, kind of canvassing that area, know that there's some maybe work to do or expected work to do, working with the neighbors out there to make sure that this is addressing, concerns on both sides, I guess I would say it that way, both from making sure that the extension does what it's supposed to do, and then obviously the costs that are associated with those from their standpoint.
Yeah. We should be prepared that, these residents are going to rightfully say, we did not request this, but that's kind of part of the deal of municipality and city water.
Are we talking part of where the old gold development was there?
Yeah.
The well went bad, and now they have city water there,
I believe that's the case,
if I'm not
yes.
mistaken, yes.
Any other questions?
Just to confirm, this is District 4, correct?
I believe this would be District 4.
Yeah, that'd be District 4, you're right.
And yeah, I would expect so, Jim.
That's all you.
I lost my train of thought now. So have these property owners, do they have any inkling yet, because they're typically not reading, the average citizen isn't reading the capital improvement plan. Have we gotten anything out to them yet, or preliminary, you'll do the preliminary assessment and then we'll notify them?
Right.
Okay, all right. So, any other questions? All right, just be ready, wear your Kevlar or your flame retardant. All right, all in favor of resolution R 122-21, preliminary assessment resolution for Greenfield water main extension improvements, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Our next Board of Public Works meeting is June 21st, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
We have a second?
Second.
Second by Wheeler. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.